Okay everyone, welcome back. This is part 2 of a Cork City landscape, and it is the River Lee. And I don't know if you watched part 1, but at the beginning I kind of panned the camera around to show you this beautiful kind of panoramic view of this kind of, it's the old waterworks. Now they have extended it and they've updated it, but this is kind of the older building. That lovely kind of tower coming in up through the middle of it there, that's quite nice. And it's a very, very peaceful place to be. Now, I don't know if you saw in part 1, but on the photograph there, which you should see, there's no roof. But I put the roof in because I was saying, let's give it a new lease of life. So we put the roof on the building, and we just done the sky within the buildings and this little wall here along the front. Now what I did here was I just added a little bit of blue, very subtle blue here and there, just in the shaded areas, just very loosely, and I put a little bit just here and there on the windows, and that just kind of helps push it back, give it a little bit more depth and distance, and it just helps it go off into the distance just that little bit better. Now we can come back and we will put more highlights on the lighter side of these towers here in the centre. They're quite bright, so we will put some light on those as well. This is kind of just sort of the rough work. I will go back when I'm finished the painting and probably bring out those little details that little bit more and just give it a little bit more definition. So today guys, I'm hoping to finish it. I want to get the trees in and this lovely building here and work on some nice reflections. Okay people, so let's do that. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just fill all this section in here with the undercolour, or the base colour we'll say, of the trees. Now it's just a lot of trees, isn't it? So I'm going to start that. Now I'm going to take this normal little rough flat brush, just the cheapest ship's brush, very cheap. Okay everyone, and let's give this a go. Now I'm going to take some, I have my colours out here. I suppose I better list them for you again, in case you're just tuning in now. I have titanium white, Naples yellow, cadmium yellow, burnt sienna, little bit of burnt umber, some cadmium red, some natal crimson. I'm not sure if it's for sale anymore. I bought this tube about 10 years ago. It was an alternative to crimson, and it's just a little bit more on the reddy side of crimson. I find crimson a little bit too rich, so I just switched to this. So I have a little bit of this, some phaylo blue, and some cobalt blue, some lamp black. So a nice full palette for this one. Okay everyone, I'm going to take this brush now and I'm going to just dampen it very slightly in my turpentine and dab it on my tissue, so it's just a little damp. It's not soaking wet. It's wet, but it's not soaking wet. And I'm going to take, now I'm looking at the greens, it's kind of a warm green, it's kind of a greyish kind of a green going through it, isn't it? So I'm going to start with some burnt umber. I'll take the dark colour first, and then I will take some cadmium yellow. Now that will give you a kind of a browny green, an earthy browny green. And into that I'm going to put a touch of black. And that's a kind of a nice earthy green for us there. I might then take a little touch of Naples yellow into that, just to tone it down slightly. And the Naples yellow has a lot of filler, kind of thick pasty filler in it, so it's like titanium white. It'll really make your colour really chalky. Does that make sense? So I'm going to go in now with that first, and I'm just going to look and kind of put it on, see how it looks against all the other colours. Yeah, I might go with that just for now. I can add more warmth into this as it comes closer to us and as it comes down further. I might just take a little touch of burnt sienna, just a little bit. And let's just dab, 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 dab. I'm just going up under that wall there. I know it's more of a crisp line across here. Now we could leave it a little bit on the crisp side, I suppose. What I mean by that is just a kind of a hard edge. I'm just going around everything here now, nice and loosely, filling in this area of greenery. So wherever there's an area of greenery now, people, I am just going to fill that in with this colour. And I can put in highlights into this then later. Now let me take some more Naples yellow and a little bit more cadmium yellow, and I want to lighten it slightly because it is quite kind of light around here. There's a lot of natural sunlight kind of catching these trees, so I'm just going to go in as far as that there. And I've been very messy with my brush now, as you can see. I'm just very loosely dabbing this in, scraping it in all different directions. Put that in there, just fill in that colour. And now as we move around the canvas, we can add colours to this. So let me take some more cadmium yellow and a touch of Naples, and let's brighten that even more. And we have a kind of a hedge up here, but I'm going to leave out the hedge. I'm just going to fill it with trees. So I'm picturing this now as if it was a bright summer's day. And there's lots of foliage around, so you're not going to see much hedges and walls, that kind of thing. Because I just want to keep this nice and simple. Okay. So that's it. Okay, so it's graduating from light to dark. And over here we have a little bit. Now we have a little white building here as well. So I'm going to be conscious of that. So let me take some Naples yellow, or cadmium yellow, I'm sorry. Touch of burnt sienna. And I'm going to put a warm colour in here to begin with. Okay, just like that. And let's add a touch of burnt umber into that. And I'm just dabbing now in all different directions. And a little touch of lamp black. Okay, just to create the form of some trees here and there. So what I might do here now actually is there's a lot of dark area in here with the trees. So I'm just going to give my brush a quick wipe on my tissue. I'm not cleaning it, just a quick wipe to take the bulk of the paint off. And let me take some phaylo blue. So a nice bit of phaylo blue. And I want to take some cadmium yellow. That's rich, isn't it? And some black. And I'm going to put that in, and that's a nice rich dark green now just in there for that shadow. I might actually even put some more phaylo blue into this and keep it more on the blue side. There's a lot of shadow around in there. And I can work my new colours on top of this then, you see, later. And we also have a fair bit of shadow around on this side. Okay, and just soften it in here and there. And we might have a little bit of shadow just in behind here. And I'm going to clean that. Then I'm going to get some black. And I'm going to go right in here with some black. Just like that. Okay. So now you can see the tones, the different areas of light and shadow, where they're going to be. So we can now kind of work on that and start putting more detail into the painting in around this tree area. Now I'm going to do all the trees in the background first before I start putting in these roofs, so I can get some nice clean edges on these then, you see. And also I can put this tower in front of the trees then as well. Okay. So you can see now that was done just very, very quickly, very loosely. All I'm doing when I'm looking at the photograph is I'm half closing my eyes, and that allows you to pick out the darks, the dark areas and the lights, you see. So if you're looking at something, if you're looking at a landscape or a scene, just kind of half close your eyes and just allow the light and the shadow to kind of come through, and you can see the areas of light and dark on your painting, and that helps you really kind of bring those out. Now we do have a lot of dark up around here, I am aware of that, and I might just put a touch of brown up around there just for now, and we can lighten that then, and we can turn this into little hedges and stuff like that as we need to. So let's just leave it like that for now. So everyone, I'm going to put this brush away for now. It's a fantastic brush to use, but I'm going to get a brush which is a lot more sort of a lot more messy, should I say. That's probably the word I'm looking for. And something with very, very badly splayed edges. Now this one is probably better. Can you see that? Nice, rough, a really worn brush. Look at that. You would say that's probably fit for the bin, wouldn't you? But I disagree. So these now are perfect for painting trees. Alright, everyone? Nice old brushes. And I think I'll start with this big one. So, we have our shadow done. I'm now going to start working on some bright highlights and bringing those trees to life. And we can put some twigs and stuff in here and there as well. So I'm going to start with the pointy brush. My little number one pointy brush, normal synthetic. And I'm going to start picking out some white, very bright tree trunks. So I'm going to take some Naples yellow with some white. Nice simple mix. Little bit of turpentine, and let's have a look now. Let's see. Okay, there's a couple of nice ones around up here, isn't there? The paint from the first part of the tutorial is still wet because I only did this last night, which would be yesterday evening. So the paint is still quite wet, but it's a little dry here and there, which I like, especially for painting these tree trunks and branches and all sorts of things. But it's still kind of mixing very, very slightly. Now I don't mind really. I kind of like working wet into wet a lot of the time, because the colours kind of pick each other up slightly and they really help with the composition. So the colours are kind of mixing around on the canvas as you're putting them on. Slightly. It's only slightly, but it does help. Now, so let's go in and let's take some yellow, some cadmium yellow and some of the white. So that'll give us a nice bright one. And let's just stick one or two around in there. It's just a little suggestion, that's all. That's all I'm trying to achieve with this. And let's put one or two around here. You can, if you like now, leave all this dry, okay, people? Leave all this dry and then put in your tree trunks and stuff afterwards. If you're not used to painting wet onto wet, like me, or like I am here, you can leave it all dry and just put in your final details and put in all these little details once it's dry. You can do that if you like. Now, I'm going to start brightening the trees. I'm bringing some colour into the trees. So let me just take some fresh paint, cadmium yellow pale hue. This is the yellow I use, cadmium yellow pale hue. There are different types of cadmium yellows. I have another one. This one is cadmium yellow hue. So this one is pale and that's just hue. So you can see the difference. Okay, one is kind of slightly richer than the other. So I'm going to use cadmium yellow pale. And this is a nice warm. It's a nice, rich, warm kind of a paint. Let me just push through there because it's a little stuck on the top. Now let's squeeze some of that out. There we go. Nice, rich yellow. And it's probably the most popular, I'd say, of the yellows. But you can, again, you can experiment. Experiment with different colours. That's what I do. So let's take this kind of wide sprayed brush now. Very worn brush. Very badly worn. And it's dry as well, by the way. It's not wet. Okay, it's completely dry because it's quite wet. So I'm only putting nice thick dry paint on top of wet paint. So thick over lean. Let's take some cadmium yellow. And I hope you can all see this now mixing. A good dollop of cadmium yellow. And I'm going to take a touch of burnt sienna. So I'm going for a nice autumny kind of a bright autumny colour. So let's take a bit of white. And not mixing it too much. You can see the way my brush is. Okay, it's very kind of thick on the very tip of the bristles. And it's very rough. And with that, I'm going to start putting in some bright colours. So let me see now. Let's start here. And already you can see it gives a lovely random kind of effect, doesn't it? You see? It makes everything nice and random, and that's what I like about using these older kind of brushes. You couldn't do this now with a new brush, it would be impossible. And let's alternate now. Let's take just some yellow and some white. Let's put some of that down here. And I'm kind of twisting as I go to create these lovely bushes. You see? And again, it's just a little bit here and a little bit there. So I'll stop now and I kind of keep looking, and when the brush gets dirty I'm going to give it a quick rub on my tissue just to clean the tip, the very very tip of the brush. And let's go back in, let's try some Naples yellow and pick up some of that mix. And let's go down here and try some of this. So the light could be just catching the trees just here and there in those shadows. And let's try another bit just around here. So this now is picking up the dark colour underneath and it's creating different colours, you see. And let's put some foliage on these guys. I might put some dark foliage on them first, actually. So with the other brush and some burnt umber and some blue, let's just put a little dark foliage around there. And then we can go on top of that with some light foliage. There we go. So we're getting a nice kind of a contrast. So let's take some of that cadmium yellow and white again, and let's just lighten some of the edges of these trees here, because the light is bouncing off of that side of the tree, isn't it? And you see how easy it is just to create some nice trees. So simple, isn't it? There we go, that looks quite good. I know we have a kind of a field up here, and look, we could put that in if you like, but I'm focusing more on getting lots of foliage in, if you understand. I want to put plenty of foliage in this painting. So we could just put that piece in there to suggest a little bank of grass or a field or something. And then we can just cut up into that, you see. There we are, just here and there. And I'm just keeping it all super loose. Very, very, very loose. So let's try some burnt sienna with some white, and that'll give us a nice autumny shade. Let's pop a little bit of that in here and there. And again, keep my brush nice and clean. And let's go over here and try some of that. So you can see now I'm just really alternating from one colour to the next, constantly. And it's just mixing nicely then on the canvas. So now at this stage I'm just going to stop what I'm doing and just sit back for a second and see how we're looking there. I might switch to a smaller brush and try and get some nice smaller bushes in with a slightly smaller old brush. So I'm just going to have a quick look there now for a nice old brush, but a nice small one at the same time. And yeah, there we go, we can try this one. So let's try this. And again, a dry brush, and I'm going to take some cadmium yellow with a little white and a nice little bright colour there. And that makes a nice little effect, doesn't it? You see? A couple of nice small ones. And we could put one or two down here as well. And this is probably the easiest way of painting little bushes and trees like this. Now, with that done, I'm going to switch back over to my little pointy brush. I'm going to take a smaller one. This is a much pointier one. And I'm going to give me some black, little lamp black, and a little burnt umber. And let's get that nice and watery. And I'm going to put in some dark tree trunks here and there, just creeping through. Just with the fine point on the brush. And all I'm trying to do with this basically now is just create a little bit of interest. That's pretty much all I'm doing, okay? So it just helps, it brings a bit of life into the painting. And I'm going to take a tiny bit of that light green then, very whitey green, and put one or two around here. So it's dark against light, light against dark, you see? And we leave it for now. We can come back to it again at another stage. In fact, what I might do there, guys, is just add a little touch of blue here and there to that. So a little blue, a little white, mix it in with that green there now, and give it a good mix now, everyone. Good mix. And let's just add a little bit of that. And that will just help cool down little parts here and there. That'll do, and that'll do fine. Okay, everyone, on to our buildings. I'm going to take a new little flat brush that I have here, and I'm going to start with, let me see, let's try this one, will we? Let's give it a go. I'm just going to dampen my brush, and let's put a little roof on this, a nice grey roof, but not too grey at the same time. Bit of black and a bit of blue. And let's try that. There we go. Now it's more on the blue side, I know, but we can add to this. Again, simplicity. Keep everything nice and simple. And that's not bad. So I'll take at this stage a little bit of that pinky colour with a touch of white, and I'm not making these colours completely separate on the palette, okay? I'm just I'm allowing them to pick up other colours as well, and that can really kind of help the composition in your painting. So for example, let's take a bit of Naples yellow and a bit of cadmium red, and let's put a bit of that through it, look. You see? And can you see that? It just makes it nice and warm. Again, I apologise for the camera quality. It's not 100%. It's only kind of, I'd say, medium. I would like it to be better, but that's all I have at this time, I'm afraid. So it will have to just suffice. Now, pick a bit of light up there. There we go. And that'll be okay for that. Let's see now. We mix a little dark colour for that side. I'm just going to switch brushes. Get me a nice sharp pointy-ish brush. Okay, nice new sharp brush. And a little bit of shadow for this. So let's take a bit of burnt umber, a bit of cadmium red, and a tiny bit of that blue. Let's mix that up a little bit. And that's a nice shadowy colour, isn't it? And let's pick up a bit of lighter blue and put that lighter blue into it. So the blues are really kind of bringing the shadows out, aren't they? And then let's move on to the front of the building. I'm going to take some burnt sienna. So I'm going to make a similar colour to this here. A pinkish kind of a reddish colour. So burnt sienna, a little of that cadmium red, some Naples yellow. Let's have a look at that. I'm going to make this slightly richer now because it's closer to us, and I want it to really kind of seem as though it's really close and up front. Not like this. This is kind of paler and a soft up in the distance, isn't it? So I've just taken a touch of cadmium yellow to this to warm it and brighten it. And let's try that, see how that looks. That's not bad, is it? And bring that right across there under the roof. Go around the arch. Now I know we have a different colour underneath here, but it's fine, don't worry. Do not worry about that at all. And then I'm going to take a touch of the white with a little bit of that blue into it. I'm just going to pull that through here and there just to create some texture on the wall. Just to give it a little bit of texture. It's not all the same kind of colour all the way through, you see? I'm just kind of adding little bits to it. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of that bluey purpley colour and put a little bit of that into it as well. You see? And it all brings it together. And we have a kind of a strange colour there, don't we? I'm going to put that in now. Let's take some burnt umber with a little cadmium red and some white. And you know, a lot of this is kind of guesswork as well for me. I'm just kind of trying it to see how it works, and if it doesn't work, I'll try something else. So let's put some of this colour in here. There we are. Let's pick up a bit of Naples yellow as well. And we have a nice kind of a brighty grey then, don't we? So let's mix up a little bright grey for that. So let's take some white, and I'm going through a lot of white today, guys. I'm going through a lot of white. So let's take a tiny bit of cobalt, a tiny bit of this cadmium red. And let's more white. More white again. And this is the beautiful part of Cork City, guys. If you're in Cork, I would tell you to come here and take a look around at this place, because I tell you, honest to God, everyone, it is absolutely fantastic. It's a beautiful part of Cork, and you should definitely try and come. So now, I'm just going to bring this across here, and don't worry everyone if it mixes with the colour underneath. You see? If it's picking up some of the burnt sienna, that's fine. And let's go around the arch here like this. So these colours mixing on the canvas are really helping me here now. They're really helping with the composition all of the time. You see? Now this is just kind of the blocking in. I'm coming back to this later, and I'm going to put all little bright highlights on this. So don't worry. Little bit along the edges there, and a little bit along here. And it's very rough. I'm not trying to get it perfect. Now let's take a look at what we have. We have little towers in the front here, so I'm going to make that just by adding some Naples yellow and a little white, so that they're separate then from the main colour. They kind of stand out a little bit. So I'm going to put those just here. Like so. And I'll put another one here. And let's see, we have a little grey cap on those, don't we? So let's put a little grey cap on those. Now would you like me to zoom in on this for you? Just for a few minutes. Would that be alright? Or can you see? I'll zoom in slightly. Now, that might make life a little easier for you, would it? Just so you can see the details I'm putting in. So everyone, we have some windows. I'm going to put the darks in here now actually for the back of these little pillars. And this is the type of painting now that kind of you really want to be taking your time with, don't you? So I'm mixing a little purple for that. And I'm going to pull the shadow down in there. I just mixed a bit of phaylo blue with some cadmium red. And pull that one down there. So that's a nice little shadow. And it kind of sticks out a bit more at the bottom, doesn't it? Then I'm going to take a touch of black and mix it into that blue. And I'm going to put in the windows with that. So I'm going to make them dark so they stand out nice, okay? And let's see now. Let's put one there. And let's put one... Let me see now. That shouldn't be there, should it? You see? I made a mistake already, didn't I? There now. So we can bring the building in a little bit if we need to. And we have 3 in the middle, don't we? So we have 1, 2, 3. And 1 over here then. There. Now she's looking a bit better, isn't she? And let's take a little window ledge under them. I'm just being very, very rough with this. Alright, people? Very loose. Because I don't want to get every single detail in. It would be just crazy now just to try and fit every single detail into this, I think. So let's just try and keep it simple. And let's go, we have a nice dark up here on the roof. We have this little window, roof light, kind of a roof light up here. Let's put a dark in for that. And I have a dark in around the arch here. And okay, what I'm going to do next is just give that brush a little clean and take some white, some nice crisp white. And I'm going to suggest some little bricks down the side of this here, you see? Just to suggest a little bit of detail on that. That's all I'm trying to do. We have white on the bottom half of this as well. So you can see it's kind of coming together slowly, bit by bit. We have a little white around the windows. So you see, guys, I can paint landscapes with detail too. Now, There we go. And let's brighten this area here. So everyone, I hope you're enjoying this tutorial. It's something a little different from what I would normally paint, but I wanted to paint a nice, a really nice cork kind of a scene, and I thought this was perfect. So I said, look, why not? I'll give it a shot and see what happens. So that's what I did, and it seems to be going okay, pretty okay so far, I would say. Now I'm just going to darken inside here with this. Alright, just like that. And I want to suggest some little window frames, that type of thing. So we have a little bit there, and one there. You see, it's just very loose. Nothing special. And then I might as well, while you have some bright colour on the brush, I might as well put in this window light as well, skylight. Like so. By the way, I set up a new Etsy page as well. I'm selling my work on Etsy. If you would like to take a look, see what you think. I'd love your comments. It's Steve's Oil Paintings at Etsy. The link will be on the end of your screen. If you want to go and take a browse, see what you think. Let me know what you think about it. Give me some hints and tips, because it's my first time selling on Etsy, so I wouldn't be very good at setting up pages, that type of thing. So let me know what you think. Alright people, I would be really grateful for all your valuable opinions. Okay, let's leave that and move on to the next one. We have a kind of a white one just there, don't we? So let's it's just a kind of a little water tower, I suppose you'd call it, wouldn't you? Small little water tower just in there. And this is probably even a bit big, but I can go back over it. And we also have some dark kind of greenery down underneath there. So I'm just going to mix a little burnt umber just in there. And let's put a little touch of Naples yellow. So you can see now, it's quite kind of just, you know, I'm not trying to paint every single detail on it. And also we have our tower. This is actually too big, it should be a lot smaller, shouldn't it? So what I'll do is I'll just go over that with some dark green. So let's take some black and a bit of yellow, and let's just go over some of that. You see, it's that easy to fix something with oils. It's not difficult at all, guys. Or should I say, ladies and gentlemen. I suppose that's probably the correct term to use, isn't it? To be politically correct, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to say that now in future. Now, let me just take my knife, and I want to put that in bright white just there. So this little tower here, nice and bright. Or at least just suggest it. You see, just with the knife. And the knife will cover a lot better. There we go. That'll do. So let me see. I could go over and finish these two buildings. That would, yeah, we'll do that. Let's do that, ladies and gents. Let's take some Naples yellow. take some of that ready kind of colour that we had, and a bit of white, and that's a very kind of a pale, kind of a pinkish brown, isn't it? That'll do. And there's a kind of a little extension next to that, so let's give it a kind of a grey first initially, and then let's give it some shadow, a nice dark shadow. So you can see how I work. It's just, I just go along and fill everything in first, and I worry about the details then later. That's how I tend to paint. And even these details now I will probably go over again, believe it or not. When the painting is completely finished, I will go along and I will take a look at all those small details, and I could probably sharpen them or make them darker, you know. And let's put a little dark down the roof here. And then let's just stick in a couple of windows. Now I'm not going to go very dark for the windows. Let's give more of a light grey this time, or a medium grey even. And we have 3 windows again. So 1, 2, 3. And then let's take some of the bright whitey kind of a colour. It's not pure white again, and I'm going to suggest the little white under the eave of the roof there, a little bit there. And this is kind of a nice change too from the landscapes, because it's nice to kind of broaden your skill set, as it were, broaden them out a little bit and just try something different as well. You see, it keeps you sharp, I find. Now, a bit of white around those. And let's put a piece across the center there. And we have a little bit up over, don't we? Going across. Let's put that in. Then what I'm going to do, there's a little shadow being cast now from the other building. So I'm just going to darken this slightly at a slight angle here, you see? And then I'm going to darken the windows as well with a little black. So the first one and just a little bit of the second one. And you see, that gives you the impression of a shadow being cast by the building next door. You see? So let's leave that a sec. Now I'm going to make that roof a little bit more on the blue side. So I'm going to add a little bit of blue and a bit of white to that. Because even though it's in shadow, it's still quite blue. So that kind of represents it a bit better, doesn't it? And I'm going to brighten some of the areas around this little window at the front here. Just randomly with my brush. Just to add a little bit of detail to that. And that'll do fine. So how are we looking? We're looking pretty good, aren't we? Little white pole in the background here. Let's just stick that in. Add some more interest to the painting. Alright. Now we have another part of the extension there, which I might as well put in. So let's up like that and down. And then we put in some of that darker colour. Let's actually add some of that in, and then take some brown and put some brown in there like that, and then give it a little roof. There. And that was quick, wasn't it? So it's all about just keeping things simple, okay everyone? Keep things nice and simple, and try not to focus too much on very small details. Okay, you can put a good bit of detail into it, but don't overdo it. I find is the best solution. If you try and go in there and get every single little detail perfect, it'll just become very frustrating, I think, and you'll probably get very annoyed and upset with yourself because you're not doing it the way it should be. So I don't get bogged down with very tiny details. A little bit in, but I'm not too worried if I don't get every single part of the painting right. I'm not worried. But with a scene like this, with it being such a kind of an iconic image of Cork, I want to get at least some of it fairly close, we'll say. I want to get another bit of white just across there, a bit there. Alright, just like so. So I'm just kind of going around now, picking out little small points, just here and there. We're getting there slowly, guys, aren't we? Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting there slowly, ladies and gentlemen, aren't we? And let's see, there'll be a few little legs on this thing here, wouldn't there? Okay, you see? Just like that. And at this stage I'm just going to stand back for a second just to take a quick look. And yep, let's zoom back now and have a look at that and see what we think. Coming on, yeah, coming on nicely. Okay, I'm going to move on to this guy over here. What I might do actually there is just put a bit of texture on that wall there. Okay, there we go. Little bit of texture. And let's move on to this big guy here. So I'm going to start with the roof. So take some cobalt blue, a touch of cadmium red, and some white. And let's put that colour on the roof. There we are. And let's make it a bit darker as it comes in here. So I'm putting some phaylo blue into that, and I'm going to soften it across. Okay, and then I'm going to pick up some black, and I'm going to put some black right in this side here, and I'm going to soften that in just gently, and you could even maybe put it just along the bottom as well. So go from dark to a slightly lighter colour. And we have a kind of a bright grey here, so I'm going to assume is a kind of a dark bluey grey on that side. So with that blue on my brush, that blacky blue colour. I'm just going to add a little touch of the pink, the pinky colour to it, and a bit of white. Now let's just take a look at that. Probably a bit on the reddy side, so let's take some Naples yellow. That should brighten it up somewhat. And let me get some more white out here, people. So Naples yellow into that should lighten it and should take the ready look off of it. That's better look, see. And just pull that down all the way in, and let's go across onto the little extension here, which is in shadow, so it's going to be slightly darker. And I'm going to start adding some burnt umber to that from this side and pulling it in. So again, it's graduating from a darker colour to a slightly lighter colour. That'll do. I'm happy enough with that. So now I'm going to take some brown and a touch of Naples yellow, and I'm going to put this roof in with that. In fact, let's take a tiny bit of that purpley colour, and I'm going to put the roof in with that. And I love working wet into wet like this because the colours do kind of almost blend together very, very nicely on the canvas. It's just fantastic. So I just took a really dark colour now, like a bit of black, and let's just pull the dark side of that building down here, and it almost disappears into the trees. There's lots of different little bits and pieces around here in the front, railings, gates, all that kind of thing. So what I might do at this stage is I'll take a clean, oh no, I don't want to take a clean brush. I'll take this brush here for that bright side and just give it a quick clean. And let's take some white, and let's take a touch of Naples yellow into that, and let's try that colour there and see. Now I have a lot of blue on the brush already. It's quite dirty, but it's not too bad. I'll go with that just for now. I will brighten it with some Naples yellow and white in a second, so just let me fill this in first. It's always nice to try buildings like this, isn't it? I quite enjoy doing things like this every now and again. It's a good change. There we go, like that. And I'm going to pick up a touch of burnt umber, and I'm going to just start gently pulling some burnt umber into that. Okay, just here and there. And again, I'm only just trying to create a texture on the wall, that's all. You see? Just a texture. And in fact, what I might do is I might take a bit of dark brown with a bit of black and just define the edge of this shadow section here just a little bit more. There we are. Now that works a bit better. And then going to take a different brush, and I'm going to get some nice light colour on this. Now let me get some Naples yellow. I know I have some Naples yellow here somewhere. Here it is. Little blob, and I'm going to take some Naples yellow with some cadmium yellow, believe it or not. Let me see now, I come down here. Some Naples yellow and a good dollop of white. That's going to be a nice bright kind of a whitey colour. There's a hint of yellow in this now. This is just to brighten it up and show the sun kind of hitting that wall. And that's all I'm trying to achieve. Now I will go sideways because there's a lot of lines in that building, isn't there? So I'm going to pull it sideways like this. And again, if you're having trouble with this, just let the colour dry underneath and then come back on and put your brighter colour over. But I quite like kind of working these colours together like this. And then at this stage I'm going to take my small brush and take some brown, burnt umber, and we'll start with that. We'll just see how we go with that. We have a kind of a thicker section across the middle, don't we? So let's put that in. Just lean down hard on the brush. There we are. And then we have a couple of smaller ones up over that, don't we? And you know what, for this we could actually use our knife, our palette knife. But I'm just going to get the eave of the roof in here first. As I have my small brush, I might as well use it for something. So let's just get the eave of the roof in. Like so. And yeah, okay, palette knife. There we go, nice palette knife with a straight edge. And I'm going to go into a little bit of that black, a tiny bit of black on my palette knife. And just pull that across here and there, see? And let's go right across the bottom as well. So you can see now the palette knife creates this lovely rough kind of a texture, doesn't it? A very irregular kind of a pattern. And in fact we have some on the back side as well, so let's take some black for that. And let's go along the back side. Very loosely, look. And that looks quite well, doesn't it? I can brighten that again. I will brighten that again. I'll show you there now actually as we're here. I'll just give you a quick... Take some white, okay? And let's just pull some white across this here and there. Thick white paint. Just on the right hand side there. Just to brighten it up somewhat. And let's run a little bit through here. And that'll do. That, my friends, will do. I'm going to lighten that side of the roof just there as well, very slightly. The sun is kind of catching this just along there like so. We could even lighten it more. We could go brighter. And then we have some light colour along the edge of the roof here. Like that. And we have some very bright kind of skylights up on the top of that roof as well. So I'm going to put those in, and I'm going to say, let's start here. And I'm going to pull it down at a slight angle like that. And then I'm going to pull it down underneath, straight down. Then again, we have a very bright highlight on the front of that. There. And let's stick a couple of windows into this. So I'm trying to be just a little accurate. Again, I don't want to be overdoing the details because you guys are you people out there are probably getting quite bored at looking at me doing little details all the time. So I do apologise, ladies and gentlemen, for that. But this is just something I wanted to try, showing you how to create these scenes. Just keeping it simple. Now I'm going to go along under here and put some kind of a grassy verge area in just over there. So let me just take some cadmium yellow, Naples yellow, and let's just put that in very loosely. So I'm just trying to keep everything nice and simple. Let's take some Naples yellow. We have a very bright kind of a section just there, don't we? So Naples yellow with some white. A little bit of cadmium yellow actually to brighten it up a bit, wouldn't it? And I'm going to actually take my palette knife and take some of that bright colour, and I'm going to pull it across here. So the sun is catching that there. Isn't that lovely? And how is that looking? So we're coming together with it now, aren't we? We're really kind of, it's coming to life. Slowly but surely. I'm just going to brighten those windows there. Just with my knife. And I'm going to just brighten that. And I haven't forgotten the tower, don't worry. I will be doing the tower very soon. We just have a couple of windows here that I really want to do. So let's take some cobalt blue with some black. And let's go over here and do these windows. So we have 3. So let's put one in the middle first. And let's put another one next to it. Another one here. And then we have some little suggestions of window frames popping through here and there. Again, very loosely. Like so. And let's get some white. Let's put some white around those just to suggest the surround on the outside on the brickwork. There we go. And number 3. And then take some very strong black, and I'm going to put some black just along on the inside here, because that's really in shadow in there, isn't it? So that's not bad now so far. It's coming along, guys, isn't it? Ladies and gentlemen, it's coming along. So I'm just going to go underneath that, and I'm going to just suggest a little bit of that wall just under there. Let's go above that. There we are. And let's see how we're looking now with this. Let's put a bit of light colour just along here. And let's take a little bit of light colour and pull that down here. Let's put a little bit of that across the top of this. And I'm going to put a little touch of it just in here. I'm just suggesting kind of little details now ladies and gents, just around, just here and there, in the background, in these shadowy areas. Just kind of suggesting some little bits and pieces of this, little bits of that. Let's have a look. I'm not happy with this. I think I could make that a little tidier, don't you? I'm going to make that a little tidier. Let's go back over our windows again. I'm just not happy with it, guys. Ladies and gentlemen. Terrible habit I have, isn't it? I do apologise. I can make this a bit cleaner. And let's clean up this one here. It's a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to put a very dark ridge right along under all of that. So I'm going to take some burnt umber and I'm going to put a nice dark ridge right along under all of that. And let's pull some of this colour down here just to fill in this. So we have a very dark kind of a river's edge there, don't we? I'm going to put that in. And it takes a little rise where the water's kind of lapping over there, doesn't it? I'm going to take some burnt sienna now as well. And just downward strokes, I reckon I can just pull that down all the way across. And let's continue that across here, perhaps. So this could be the rest of the river's edge up here. Okay. And then I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to grab some Naples yellow with little burnt sienna and I'm going to just pop in a couple of little bits and pieces. I don't know what you would call it really. It's just little bits and bobs, and it's just to suggest kind of the wooden effect on the front of this area here. Bits of concrete, bits of this, bits of that, you know, everything and anything. It's just a very rough kind of impression of the river's edge. We do have lots of things like bars now, like little railings and stuff around there. Now we could try a couple of them if you want. But the danger again is that you might get bogged down with too much detail, you see. So I'm going to try just a couple. So let's just put a couple of little, a suggestion of a few just here and there. And a couple over here. Okay. And again, I am not worried too much about getting every single little thing absolutely perfect. It's just very, very loose impression of the scene. That's all I'm trying to get at, is the scene. So we have a couple of little pieces off in the distance here. And we have some little bushes along the front as well, which I would like to get in. I know they're more kind of reeds and stuff like that, but I think Let's try a couple of little flicks here and there with that. There we go. So we pretty much have most of our scene finished. I do want to put in this little tower here, and then we're going to move on to our reflections. Shall we do that? I'm really looking forward to doing reflections on this, because there's going to be some fantastic reflections there. I cannot wait, people. Cannot wait. No. Right, here we go. There we go. Alright, ladies and gents, reflections. Let's do this. Let me see. I'm going to start with that reflection up there. And I'm just going to cut across here just to show where the wall is kind of falling over. And what I'm going to do then is I'm going to take a, let me find a brush here now. Alright, let me just find a brush. I'm going to go in there with some green. I'm going to put some, let me see, some dark green. Let's mix up a nice green for this. Burnt umber and a bit of yellow. And let's take a touch of, let me just check that now. Well, that's not bad. I'm going to put that in there, just paint that right across. Just like this. It's only a small reflection up here now, people. Just a little one. That's all I'm doing here. And I'm going to add to that a little blue. And with painting water like this, I'm always going left and right with my brush. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that with my soft brush. Let me find a nice soft brush here. I'm just going to soften that together very quickly. And then I'm going to take some of this orangey colour that we mixed earlier for that building. So a little bit of red. Now bear in mind it's going to be slightly darker than what you're reflecting, so I'm going to make it slightly darker and richer as well. Burnt sienna, a little bit of red, and let's just pull some of that down just underneath that house, okay? And then let's pick up a tiny bit of black with that, paint the shadow. So you can see it's just very loose representation of that building. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pull that very gently down and then pull across it very softly. Now I am going to introduce one or two little highlights just to suggest this reflection here, this bright reflection. Just a couple. You see, I'm keeping it very, very loose. I'm not going into very much detail at all with this. And just suggest that dark section there. And let's pull that down again. And then what I'm going to do is take my palette knife, my sharp edged one, and I'm going to take some white on the edge of that, and I'm just going to cut across along the edge of the river here, and just one or two through the reflection. Very fine lines. Okay, just like that. And that's that reflection done already. Isn't that just fantastic? Wasn't that so simple? So that's how I paint my reflections. That's how I like to paint my reflections. I'm going to keep it pretty much the same for this section over here. Now I want to get this nice kind of waterfall lapping down over here, so I'm going to move on to that next. And I'm taking a nice clean brush, dampen it slightly, and let's take some cobalt blue, some cadmium red, and I'm going to add a touch of, let me see now, I might add a touch of burnt sienna into that. And this is a work in progress, so we can add to this, okay? Now I've just taken a bit of phaylo just now. I'm going to pull that in, and I'm pulling it down in the direction of the fall. So the fall is coming down at an angle like this, so I'm just going to pull it in that direction. Does that make sense? And just pull it across like this, all the way. Let's add more blue, a touch of red over here. It's getting slightly richer as it gets closer to us. And then I'm going to take my little flat brush, my nice new clean flat brush, and just on the top of that I'm going to make a nice light blue. So I'm taking a touch of phthalo blue, some titanium white, And just along the top of that, I'm just going to come along and just kind of flick a little bit of light blue into that colour. So that's kind of, it's almost blending the dark blue into that reflection colour above it. But it's not kind of softening in them too much. So it's almost just like a nice kind of a transition from one colour to the other. You see? And I'm going to just pull some down here like this, here and there. And there's a bit of that kind of rich blue popping through the water here and there as it falls over. Just like that. Again, nice and loose, nice and simple. Let's have a little look. There's a bit of foam just at the end, isn't there? So I'll take my fan brush, take some white with a little blue, and just along at the end there, a couple of dabs, just to suggest that little bit of foam, just here and there. That's okay for now, we can come back to that again. We can kind of work on lots of little details with that. So for instance, I could take a tiny bit of white on my brush and I could just put a couple of little ripples here and there, just to bring out some highlights on the water. And this is something that you can kind of take your time with at home. See, a couple of little dabs here and there. And moving along now to this section here, I need to put some fresh white on my palette, and I'm going to cut right across under that dark area. I might actually soften this a little bit, because for me it's a little bit on the hard side. I might just soften it very gently, look, with my small blender brush, just a little pull down here and there. And I think that helps. So with my flat brush, which I already had colour on, I'm going to mix a colour for that. And I'm thinking of colours now, contrasting colours. I don't want to put something too brash on there. So I'll take some phaylo blue with some white. And I'll take a touch of Naples yellow. And I'll take a touch of burnt umber. So a subtle kind of a greeny blue now is what I'm going to put on. And the colours really move around lovely on this canvas because it's well primed. I would always say to people, you know, prime your canvas. Just give it one quick coat of undercoat. Any kind of undercoat that you have at home will do. Just give it one quick one, and you will notice a difference, I promise. I really promise you will. You'll notice a huge difference in your painting, in your techniques. And the paint just kind of flows around much easier on the canvas because of it. And let's go again. Some more phaylo blue, some Naples yellow. And I'm almost out of Naples yellow now at the moment. So I can just take some burnt umber to suffice. That will do the job just as well. So more blue again. And I'm just dampening my brush now a little bit slightly in the turpentine, just to help it flow along nicely. Okay. And go up under that. And let's pull that colour down now. And that's a nice rich warm colour, isn't it? But it's not too much in your face, is it? Soften, soften, soften. And I know now this is a very long tutorial, but there was a lot of detail in this now, in fairness. Next I'm going to take just some burnt umber with a touch of black, and I'm going to go up here and just pull down some of this reflection from the water's edge, just there. Alright. Just pull that down nice and gently, and then we can take some brighter colour. Let's put out a dab of Naples yellow there, and let's take a touch of that with our brush, and perhaps a touch of burnt sienna too, and just wherever there's a bit of light, just pull it down slightly. See? And you can already start to see the reflection starting to form on the canvas now. So next I'm going to put in this light area. It's a very, very bright area, isn't it? I'm going to make up a medium kind of darkish grey for that. Just come right along here and pull that right down. Go, and then I'm going to take a little small flattish kind of a brush, or a round one, whatever you have, just to reflect those windows down. So take a bit of black with a touch of brown and just pull them down wherever you see them, just a little flick, like so, and then we're going to reflect the dark side of that. So I'm going to take some phaylo blue, a little touch of black, and a touch of cadmium red. And I'm going to make a nice dark colour for that side in there, you see? Now it's going off into the distance, so it's going to just sort of disappear, if that makes sense. Of course it does. And then we have our roof. I'm just going to take a little bit of black for that. And just suggest that just there, like so, you see? So now let's have a look around. We can reflect this little area here too, couldn't we? So let's do that. Let's take some of that nice reddy colour that we had, and let's add a touch of Naples yellow to it. Brighten it up slightly, and just imagine now you have a line coming straight down here from this. So let's put it around here. You see, it was just a hint of colour, but it works. And we have a bright reflection on this side of it here. Everything I'm doing is just a hint of a colour, just a hint. I'm going to reflect this guy down here, because that's a very prominent kind of a colour as well, isn't it? And let's reflect this guy here. Let's have a look around. I might put a bit of green in. Shall we try a bit of green, people? Let's try a bit of green. Just here and there, just flick a little green through that. I put a bit of brighter green over on this side, just for those. And put a bit up here. I'll take a bit of white and a bit of yellow, and let's just really brighten those just there. And you see now we have a couple bright ones around here, don't we? So I'm not going to overdo it. At this stage, what I'm going to do now is take my soft brush and pull all of this down very gently. So I'm doing this now while the canvas is nice and wet. And you see, the brush is picking up little touches of colour and it's pulling them through different colours. So it's all sort of mixing together nicely, nice and soft. Colours are interacting with one another nicely, and then I'm just going to pull it left and right across. Now this is very hard, this edge here, so I'm just going to soften that across with my soft brush there, and I'm going to go gently now left and right across this. Now there is one thing I forgot to do, and that was to just highlight around those windows here. So just suggest a little surround, and I think that will finish them off a bit nicer, won't it? And then let's take our brush that we have here. Now on the photograph I can see the reflections are much kind of brighter on this here. You know, you could maybe brighten it a bit. Shall we try it? Shall we try brightening it slightly? Because I know it is quite dark. It does look quite dark. So I think I myself would probably even be happier if I brighten that just slightly. It is quite dark, isn't it? And I'm not entirely happy with that. So let's take some white and a touch of Naples yellow, and let's just brighten this a little. Is that looking a bit better? It is, isn't it? And then let's go to a bit of brown, a bit of red, and let's lighten this side a little. And we can always just go back over our windows again if we really want to. Okay, don't worry. So let's just pop in our windows again, very gently. Let's take a little bit of black. And let's take a touch of a white, little dab, and let's just go around those again. There. Is that a bit better? Oh yes, so palette knife, and take a touch of titanium white, and let's just put a hint of some ripples. I might take a touch of blue, touch of cobalt blue into that, and let's just introduce a couple of small ripples just along the riverbank over there, and let's pull some through the reflection. And that's kind of creating a nice little shimmer on the water, isn't it? And let's go along here. Now we can be quite rough with it here because this is where the water kind of meets here. So we can be quite rough with it here. There we are. So it's not going to be a perfect edge, and we could even pull some over the waterfall as well. So let's just take some on our knife and let's just pull some over the waterfall. Now it's only a little weir, it's kind of just a small little waterfall just coming over here. So I'm not going to emphasize on it too much. And that is it, my friends. I'm just going to soften the ripples very slightly with the brush. Nice simple reflection to finish our painting. And let us stand back now and have a quick look at this. So that's it, everyone. I hope you got some nice hints and tips from that. I hope you enjoyed watching me paint that. The River Lee in Cork. And thank you very, very much for all your support, everybody on Patreon. Thank you once again. There are some lovely tutorials there, guys, ladies and gentlemen. There are some lovely tutorials there if you want to go and take a look. Thank you very, very much for your support on that. So I will be back next week with another. I've a lovely sunset in mind. A lot of people have asked me to paint it. I took a photograph of a lovely sunset outside my front door a couple of evenings ago, and a lot of people have been asking me to do a tutorial on that. So I might do a tutorial on that. A lovely sunset. So that's it. If you want to contact me, if you want to send me any of your work, for my opinion, or I'd love to see it anyway in general, you can send it to my email address, stephenconway12@gmail.com. You can find me on Patreon, as I said, on Facebook and YouTube. So everybody, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this now, and I'm going to put a frame on this and I'll show you this when it's framed in the next tutorial. Yes? And we'll see how it looks. I will probably finish up one or two small little details here and there, add a bit more texture perhaps to some of the buildings, maybe soften some of the colours together off in the distance, but in general that's the feeling I wanted to get from the painting. Just a nice bright sunny day in Cork City on the River Lee. So thank you very much for watching, people, and I will see you again very soon. God bless. All the best.